Hello, everyone. I'm Hex Harper, and this is Amateur Hour. So, now we are on to day 2 of Gail Simone's comic school and everything. Let's see, last time we had Archie and Wonder Woman and Deadpool and whatnot. So now we got Lego Batgirl, D&D thing, and I am not sure whose emblem this is. I cannot for the life. Black Canary, maybe? I have no idea. If anyone knows, just let me know in the comments or something, please. Because this has been driving me crazy. All right, so last time we had to write, pick a genre, write a couple of springboards, and you can clearly see which one I came up with first and kind of sold myself on. Uh, so yeah, uh, and this is the one I fully intend to write about, and I did go over this before in case I didn't do anything outside of recording. So all right, let's begin. Now today we have a couple exercises and one piece of homework. That should not be painful. But first, a couple notes here. We will begin talking about outlines and first pages. Oh boy. First, I took an hour or so and looked at a lot of springboards that people had posted from their work almost assignments. Yeah, I can't talk today. The idea was to choose or roll a genre and write two separate springboards for a 5 or 8 page story in that genre, which I admit I kind of screwed up on. I just wrote one of each, and but well, it seems like there was a lot of miscommunication on there. Many posted theirs, but if you haven't, find the tweet that says hashtag springboards and post your springboards there. Whatever. That's too late for that nonsense. Don't have to share them. Also, don't eat the hamburger surprise in the cafeteria today because I'm pretty sure Neil Gaiman got some stardust in it or maybe some what? What what is this? What is this fucking line? Ugh, this freaking auntie humor. Seriously. Uh, for something that corny, you deserve some dandruff in your coffee. I don't. It doesn't have to be, you know, the smelly hobo that lives under the bridge and uh, get some nits in there too. It could be from your rocket spouse or something, but you deserve some dandruff in your coffee for that bad line. That's all I'm gonna say. Here's the thing, folks. Springboard is usually the first step to an editor's approval. Sometimes it's done over the phone. It's a brief, brief, brief idea for your story. A gigantic planet-eating being sends a herald to scout the Earth to see if it's appropriate for his next meal. The herald develops a thing for Ben Grimm's girlfriend. So, yeah, Galactus Silver Surfer. That's a springboard. A student asked an excellent question about this yesterday. They asked if it was an elevator pitch, and it basically is. Uh, my advice as a springboard is avoid cliche at all costs. So don't say, imagine a world where, or it's a cross between Die Hard and blah blah. Not to mention, this is a 5 to 8 page comic. There's not going to be much room for, no, fuck off. For, imagine a world where trying to do some Die Hard-ish, Die Hard hybrid scenario. Remember, at every stage you are trying to sell your story, told your way. Don't give your editor a reason to yawn. I'm going to tell you a bit of an industry secret. That's not that secret if you really think about it. Readers believe the reader is the customer, and that is true, they are. But they aren't the first customer. The first customer is probably the editor. Then again, you sell to the publisher. Then you again sell to the retailer. And finally, the customer is the reader. If any stage this doesn't fly, then the reader never even gets the book, and the whole thing collapses. There is something that kind of bugs me about this. While, yes, this is technically true, you have to, you know, you have to get it approved by your editor, get it approved by publishing, get it approved by all these people, so that it can be sold in stores. The thing is, fuck, not again. The reader must always be kept in mind. Not again. Because if I get a story approved by my editor that is approved by the publisher that no one wants to read in the first place, like, say, if you're a progressive ideologue and all of your superiors are progressive ideologues that sell it to comic book stores, though the readers have made it very clear that they don't want your ideological bullshit, then you're not going to fucking sell it to them now, are you? Fucking stop doing that. So, yes, while this step by step process is technically true, if I can stop clicking on things, it still has to be something fucking good. I mean, sure, I can come up, like, I can propose a story. I'm like, hey, what about if Batman and Flash Gordon team up to fight against Ming the Merciless and Ra's al Ghul? An editor can clearly say, Hex Harper, you you mono-neuroned imbecile. No one is going to care about Flash Gordon. No one cares about Flash Gordon. He's been whatever. Granted, I don't know shit about Flash Gordon, and I think that would be a fucking awesome story. But, there's plenty of ways that it could be shot down. But if no one if no one wants to read it, and the readers have clearly made it clear that they don't want to read it, then you have no customers. So, after all, why else did the comic book industry collapse under 2 weeks? Because no one was buying shit. It's been, what, the fourth down year in a row now? Anyway. Granted, this is technically true, but not really. Fucking stop it. Anyway. So this is something every potential comics writer has to keep in mind. And at least while going through traditional comics distribution and selling, I was like, good news? I've read a ton of springboards, and I'm delighted to know how. Okay, everyone did a good job. That's pretty cool. All right, gotta calm down. So you may need to rethink your understanding of the idea to project development. A lot of project development goes into trying to catch the retailer's attention. They have 1,000 books a month to choose from. Well, they certainly did in pre-COVID pre-COVID times. Now you get nothing. Keep their needs in mind at all times. Well, their needs are making sure that the customers have something they want to buy. So, again, the retailers are the customers is still flawed logic. Here's your first exercise for today. It's for the springboards. You'll need one person's help. It can be a student in the thread or any friend. You don't have to do. Show your work. Let's read someone read your springboards. That person is going to act as Fred, your imaginary editor for this entire project. So, wait, even if I don't have a friend named Fred, do I have to, like, if I call up my buddy right now and said like, "Hey, I want you to read some springboards for me. Also, I need to call you Fred for 5 minutes. Is that okay?" But is that part of the whole process here? Uh, Full disclosure, I did. I mean, I didn't. I barely had any ideas for these. I came up with this one last night, and then this one before. I just wrote this up before I even started recording. Uh, so this whole thing has been kind of out the window anyway. But even then, I was like, hey, a starving warrior trapped in a cabin about to fight a Wendigo. How does that sound for an 8-page comic? Heck yeah! There we go. Problem solved. That was basically what happened. eh, I don't need those no more. There's going to be Fred, your imaginary editor. Have that person read both your springboards, and whichever one he likes, that becomes the story you write. This is not your choice, it's Fred's. Everyone got that? You have no one to ask by email or go to. Hashtag springboards, take a suggestion, whatever. Someone else chooses which story you write. Got it? But here's the thing. When writing for a publisher, especially starting out, we do not always have the final say on every aspect of the idea process. Now again, I was impressed by the springboards I saw. I cannot wait to see what you do next stage. And here's also the Comic School Discord server, which has a lot of people helping each other. I tried looking for this Discord server. I found an invite link, and I'm guessing it's been taken down or whatever, long defunct. Because trolling through that to see if there was any juicy bits, especially from Gail herself or anything, that would have been fun to look at. But alas, that is not the case. This, I want to post a couple of these springboards. This is from Sean. A young squire becomes imbued with amazing powers that could change the course of the war that's raging between the humans and the Fae. But which side will the squire fight for now? From JMHL. Crime. 9-year-old Charlie Dixon fell asleep in his home bed and woke up somewhere else. Now he's hunted and stalked by a demon, hell bent on keeping him from the familiar, but different place. Charlie must face his fears. I'm like, okay, these are both pretty good. See, that's exactly what a springboard's supposed to be. Now you know what it is, and it sells your idea to the first customer, Fred the editor. Come to think of it, friend. Fuck. Editor. God damn it. God damn it, man. Great job, guys. I have to move on, but again, the vast majority of the springboards. Okay, more congratulatory taking a future step. Okay, so before we move on to outlines, grab your pen and notepad. We are going to use these 2 pages. These stay in the book, don't go in the roadblock box. Right at the top of one page, Universal Toolbox. Then Personal Assets on the next. There are a total of 6 tools that will go in the Universal Toolbox. Every writer has to use a little bit of each. I talked about the first 2. Anyone remember them from yesterday's lesson? You remembered, I guess. Now, these are not hippy-dippy ideals. These are things you need. Focus. Focus is the thing that keeps scope creep away, makes you a person who finishes things, and keeps the story lean and mean. Passion. Passion is your drive, your will as a writer. So under those, you'll need focus and passion. And today is a little bit of number 3, craft. Universal Toolbox is the stuff that every writer has to have. You can be strong in one category and weak in others. Every editor, even Fred, leans on your strengths and weaknesses, or learns from your strengths. My mouse was in the way. They have to have some of all, okay? Now here's the exercise 2 for today. And again, do this after class. Personal asset is a list of what weapons you personally have that could be helpful to you as a writer. It can be anything. Large vocabulary, multilingual, unusual background or skill, education. So after class, take 10 minutes to list everything you feel could be used as an asset that you have that others might not. This list is for you. You don't have to share it. I'm willing to bet you have more in the plus column than you think. Wait, was there ever a thing that you had to have a negative column on? I mean, there was strengths and weaknesses and stuff over here, but not like, whatever. This is an essential. I skipped ahead. This list is for you. Now we talk about outlines. Okay. Uh, First off, about this whole personal tool assets thing. Yeah, I'm not doing that, and not because, but that's more of a me thing rather than a no one should do this kind of thing. Mostly because I can't objectively really say anything good about myself, even if I'm like, oh well, I can think of crazy ideas. Well, so can literally anyone else. So anything good I might have is easily replaceable in my mind. So I'm just going to ignore that. But by all means, do assess your strengths and weaknesses. That is, as as long as you don't have a skewed brain like I do, that is a good thing to take note of to some unbiased capacity. Industry secret of the day number 2. You actually will write your story or some version of it, potentially several times. Springboard, outline, first draft, revisions. That's optimal, it can be more. As a special treat, I have some extra superstar faculty who has given me some advice to impart on you. And here's the thing, the outline is where you shape your story. This is where you use your toolbox. You're not selling so much, you're making and assembling the story. Now, here's where we get into the craft. Unlike screenwriting, comics does not have an actual agreed upon format. I wouldn't mildly. Yes, that's technically true, but there's at least one good format you can use. The Art of Comic Writing by Mark Neese. It's a SCAD book. Absolutely freaking invaluable to me. It's on my must-read list. Like, I didn't know how I could figure out how to properly format or do anything with the script until I read that. And I'm like, yeah, that's so it works. It that format definitely works. But I digress. Each writer has their outlines and scripts differently, and we will get into that. But for today, I'm going to give you a potential method and an actual example. So Fred approves your springboard and tells you what story to do. In comics, you then go to an outline. Outline is a halfway point between the springboard and the first draft. You tell your story, major beats and characters is where you craft from the toolbox. And you will get better at this every time you do it. As a reminder, not all stories work the same way. Of course not. But most stories have similar elements regardless of length. And can be named different things. The introduction, so the conflict, character and situation increasing stress, which doesn't really happen much in SJW comics, and there's no stakes at all. A lot of characters are very Mary Sue-ish, where it's like, oh no, this is kind of happening, but it's like, yeah, you're just gonna be fine. There's no actual, like, none of this matters. None of this matters, kind of thing. Um, the climax, a resolution, not the dirty thing you were thinking of. Whatever, I wasn't. And possibly a denouement, an afterclimax, a character moment. Now for a treat, you have some big name faculty. Uh, One of the hottest writers going, Tom Taylor made. Especially with this faculty thing. I swear to God, there's going to be something like, oh, Coach Neil Adams has told me that he's going to line up anyone who he catches running in the halls and have them executed by the dodgeball team, a la firing squad. Anyway, the outline is a place for write without fear. No one will see your generation of thought, the average ideas that become something greater. It's a place to take big risks and forge diamonds. You can't forge diamonds. I should have deleted that in the outline. Tom's right. If you make a huge chance in the actual scripting, if you take a huge chance in the actual script, Fred might tell you you can't have Batman eating babies. Which, yes, that is very true. If I suddenly decided, let's just make Captain America Nazi, I'm sure that'll go over well. Ha. Yeah, sorry. And you have to start over. The outline is a place to try from an outrageous idea. Thanks, Tom! Everyone follow Professor Tom Taylor Made. He's awesome. We are coming to near the end, and don't worry, there's fun homework a bit left. Just a couple more words about the outline portion. Everyone does it differently. Keep it brief, cover all the main beats, include a climax or resolution. But I have one last craft detail to impart. One of the biggest fiction weapons is the reveal. This is someone, the reader that has the protagonist doesn't know. It's a secret. It's a locked box that opens up in the story. Luke, I am your father. That's a reveal. Used properly, a reveal can be an H-bomb. The element of surprise woven into your story. Well, even then, the reveal could be something slightly different depending on it. Like, since I'm writing a horror story, which is actually going to be a first for me, uh, usually the reveal tends to pop up at the end, and it's just like, uh, goddamn, like, like you see that one guy with the scalps of every ancestor's head and to that giant millipede thing from that one Junji Ito story or something like that. It's just like, what the fuck is that? Or okay, that wasn't towards the end, but oh well. Where was I? Okay. Every great work of fiction has them. Many revolve completely around them. And using one shows you're growing in the craft. So consider this a secret in the story. Alright, a couple more tweets and the class is over. What does an outline look like? For Jodie Hauser, she breaks down the story page by page, so a page breakdown. Or it can be an expansion by fleshing out the techniques used in the springboard. The way I learned how to do it was taught to me by Mark Wade. He goes by the journalism rules of who, what, why, when, and where. Who did what, why did they do it, when did they do it, and where. That really works well for me, but I asked the hardest working, most over-prepared writer in the business for an example, and he kindly opened the page, normally locked in Patreon, for an example of an outline. Just for you, comic school students. Which, no, I didn't. he might have easily he might have easily locked it. I didn't actually check. Uh, I can get Jim Zub on the staff because he is usually writing 1,100 books. He's also one of the best comic Patreons out there. All right, I'm proud of you for sticking with it through the outline stage. Here are your two exercises. Get a friend to choose your springboard, which I already did, kind of, and learn writer assets you have. Now for your homework, and it's going to be fun. You probably won't think I'm going to ask you to write an outline. Well, I'm not. Most certainly can. Good practice. But I have a different homework assignment for you today. Write the first page. Just the first page. Do something small first. Grab a few comics you enjoyed and look at their first page. Only their first page. Then and only then, write your first page. Okay, well, thank you, Miss Simone. I will get right on that. But first, I'm... I usually go by page breakdowns, and I had at least some idea of how this story is going to go. So, for page one, I mean, in medias res is not the best idea for it, but I kind of had at least some. I had some punchy imagery in my head for the very first page, so. Uh, let's see. I'm trying to, because I had at least a couple pages of trying to build up that I hadn't really thought of. But I'll go back down here and say, you know, 7. Don't mind me. I'm just. Oh yeah. So I still have pages 4, 5, and 6 to fully think of in my head, or whatever. But so I'm at least somewhat on my way. Uh, let's see. It might it can be kind of. I don't think I could ever live stream a full writing session because uh, getting me to write anything is like pulling teeth or whatever. Just it's not even so much like, oh, I don't really have the idea. It's just trying to actually form the idea in my head, scraping it out and actually putting it on. Because I'm not exactly a perfectionist when it's like I want everything on right to be immediately perfect. It's more of I'm more of a correctionist. I have to make sure it's the right thing I want to say. It can be edited later. It can end up even being completely a scrap. But as long as I had like the correct thought in my head of how to get something out, it's so yeah that can take a little while. But well, hey, so uh, some guy's gonna be fighting a Wendigo. Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. Uh, well, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.